Louis left the bedsit. Outside it was cold and barely light, but enough people were up and about to make the world seem real. He paced the pavements, tracking past the park, the petrol station, and towards the cash and carry store at the end of the road. The fresh air felt amazing against his bare skin, and he almost didn't notice the biting cold. Almost. Man, it's fucking freezing. Still no coat, eh? Louis jumped and swung his gaze sideways. For the second time in 24 hours, the man from Tony's had walked up on him, this time from the exit door of the cash and carry. Jesus, what are the chances? Not that it mattered. Despite the dude being glorious to look at, he was the last person on earth Louis wanted to see. One of them at least. Louis turned away and kept walking, figuring the bloke was already bored with whatever conversation he'd been trying to start, but found his path blocked by 6 foot of scowling Italian. Fucking A, mate. What do you want? What do I want? The man raised his hands as if considering putting them on Louis. Let him try. Then seemed to change his mind. I thought it was you who wanted a job. Louis shrugged, his stance as non-combative as he could bear. He'd learned to be painfully neutral in prison, pleasant enough to be liked, quiet enough to stay under the radar. With no Moss Farm boys on the wing, it had worked. But out here where his face was known, looking weak was a risk. His hands itched to push the man away, a warning, and the only one he'd get. He balled them into fists and shoved them in his pockets. Yeah, well, it was you who told me it didn't exist. So why are you up in my face again? The man glanced over his shoulder. I spoke to my granddad. He seems to think we need the help enough to put up with whatever trouble you bring to our door. I already told you I don't run with the Moss Farm boys anymore. When did you get out? Yesterday. What are you doing ramming the streets at 5 in the morning? What do you care? It was the other man's turn to shrug. I don't care if you're just out for a morning stroll, but if you're on your way home from something dodgy, this conversation's over. I didn't ask you for this conversation. Louis kept his voice low, swallowing the frustration expanding in his chest. How was this even his life? He'd dreamt about Cafe Dude, but not like this. Never once had he imagined him being so fucking annoying. If you don't want to have it anymore, let me pass. I didn't say that. And why are you saying? Because as much as I've got nowhere else to be, I haven't got time for this. Do you have time to work today? Louis glanced up sharply. What? Work. As in, work for me. Today. I'm snowed under and could do with the help if you're up for a trial shift. The sun broke through the clouds behind the train line, grey streaked with a golden glow. Tension bled from Louis's shoulders. What's your name? Why does that matter? I want to know if you're serious. And does knowing my name help you with that? You know mine. That's not my fault. Louis couldn't deny it, but stubbornness flowed through him thicker than blood. He'd mellowed in the 6 years he'd spent with no choices or autonomy, but without rhyme or reason, the world had stopped turning until the beautiful man in front of him revealed his name. Paolo. Paolo what? Gilberto, like my granddad, Tony. I know him. Big guy with a giant moustache. That's the one. A faint smile brightened Paolo's face. He hasn't run the cafe in years, though, so why he thinks he's got a say in who I hire, I have no fucking clue. And yet here we are. Here we are, Paolo agreed. Now, do you want the job or not? I want it. Can you start now? Now? You said you had nowhere else to be. Louis spread his hands. Then I guess I'm all yours.